Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Poetry Street. My name is Chip Williford. My pronouns are he, him, and his. Poetry Street is the room without a roof where every voice is heard, and we're so happy that you're here at the Free Riverhead Library, as well as those of you on Zoom in the comforts of your own home. We acknowledge that we are guests on this land. Poetry Street and our work in this area of Long Island is situated on the ancestral and unceded lands of the Lenape, who are the original caretakers, also the Canarsie, the Shinnecock, the Montaukett, the Reckonwalk, the Maasai, and the Haudenosaunee. We acknowledge and respect the many indigenous people who live on this land and continue to make ongoing contributions. I'm very excited about today's features, but it's not my job to tell you who they are. It is my co-host. So I'm going to introduce my co-host, who is the wonderful, talented, Emmy-winning Maggie Bloomfield, who is also the author of Sleepless Nights and other books of poetry. Ladies and gentlemen, Maggie Bloomfield.
Thank you, Chip. Welcome, everybody. This is Poetry Street, the room without a roof, where every voice is heard. Just to give you a little history, if you're not familiar, and first of all, to thank this blessed library for giving us a home. Poetry started many years ago at the Blue Duck Bakery here in Riverhead before it closed, alas. And it was started by Susan Dingell and Bubby Brown. Susan Dingell is a wonderful poet, and Bubby Brown is a wonderful poet from Riverhead, who most of you probably know. And we were at the Blue Duck for a very long time. And then it closed, the Blue Duck closed, and then the pandemic happened, and all that great stuff happened. And we continued on Zoom. We did continue on Zoom. And now we have a new home, thanks to Pam Cook and the library and all the staff at the library. And we are so grateful to have this lovely venue, especially on this hot day, right? It's good to be inside. I want to thank Chip. I want to thank Claire Lundberg, who is at home helping us Zoom. I want to thank all the wonderful participants on Zoom who come regularly. God bless them. And I want to thank Mike Gary for helping out today. I want to introduce a couple of months ago, I introduced something called the community poem. And the community poem, you'll see a jar back there. The community poem is an exercise for you guys to have a chance to write. There is a jar, there is paper and pen. I ask that you write, if you choose, one sentence that you feel might be fairly poetic about a river, but don't use the word river. Can't use that word, okay? You gotta do metaphor stuff. If you so choose. And I'm just gonna read you the community poem from last time. I think a few of you were here. Last time the theme was freedom. And here's the poem that we got. Freedom is a flowing river, is fullness and emptiness, not only a right, but a blessing. Freedom is the lightness of being. I imagine I live in the land of the free and the home of the brave. So why am I a prisoner of my own choosing, bound by conditions of good and bad? Mountains and valleys of freedom are gained and lost. June slides away like the gulls above the bay. My precious freedom sheathed, I sing from bondage. Transformed, I am a glorious song. When you belong, I belong. If we are to be, long for us. You guys wrote that. Okay. So I have the privilege today of welcoming our wonderful, wonderful featured poets. And first up is a woman I heard on Zoom, and she's appearing with us on Zoom, I'm happy to say today. Joy, Sister Joy Matthews Alfred is Prince George's County, Maryland Poet Laureate Emerita, 2018 to 2023. She has authored 3 poetry collections, and her work appears in regional and international poetry anthologies, often addressing social issues. She also addresses empowerment and spirituality. Sister Joy is founder of the Washington Area Poetry Group, wish we could all go there, Collective Voices, which hosted Poetry Extravaganza, a tribute to Dr. Martin Luther King at the MLK Memorial Library for 20 years. Please help me welcome Sister Joy.
Thank you so much, Maggie, and thank you to everyone for being a part of today's reading. This series has quite a history, and I'm honored to be here. Today, I have 7 poems that I will be sharing, and I have been invited to offer a closeout poem later. So I'll get right to it. My first poem is titled Reflections. Reflections. We look back. We must look back. Vision, you see, is premised, predicated upon the universe in which it is formed. To see tomorrow's vision, to dream, eyes must have a frame of reference, a vantage point through which we assess what is. But not only eyes, minds, and hearts. Indeed, souls can be lifted by vision and cursed by lack of it. So we look back, name and claim our defeats as freely as we seek the glory and glee of victories, not to dwell in yesterday, nor she in us, but to gain from her legacy, good or bad. Ancestors, elders, and tomorrow's seed yet born, each has or shall witness with earthly short-sightedness that which limits vision to all this side of the Jordan. So whether we be born strong of spirit or weak of flesh, we are the same. And since neither war nor any of the isms which afflict mankind prevail beyond the grave, neither free nor slave escapes the final call. We can only look back in prayer and faith that tomorrow brings rebirth, in hopes that before or after we return to earth, some purpose is made clear, some deed aligned with need in a way that our fellowship lifted another, that perhaps someone rejoiced in our being, that at least one was helped or healed by our walk. We look back with herald or hurt and are proud because, you see, we endured. We overcame, for looking back discloses through time's final looking glass of revelation our true tomorrow. My second poem, it's a pandemic poem, and it's titled Kitchen Window. kitchen window. Standing here, the world looks bright. Squirrels still scamper and red-breasted robins hop amid my freshly cut lawn. A lone but lovely lilac bush and soon to bloom forsythia soothe my spirit. All seems right with the world through this window. Countless have been the tranquil hours we have shared. She has been my respite, affording moments of peace and serenity amid life's tumultuous storms, shielding me, albeit momentarily, from some of life's harshest realities. Her gently framed view of the world provides, even now, a pastoral view that is sacred to my soul. I come to this sacred space knowing it has been given to me for times such as this, when reality overwhelms and would deny the notion that beauty still exists. This space where even washing a dish can return calm and control to my life, banishing such blight as disease and pandemics, signals that the ravages of devastation and loss linger so very, very close by. My next poem is one that I hope you will travel back in time with me. It's titled Whispers of Revelation. Whispers of Revelation. Distant drumming awakens me. Whispers from an unknown origin, calling my name, beating inside my soul, calling me, pulling me to a place I've never known. The pulse, even now, echoes inside my mind. My spirit dances in new ways. The whispers entrance me with their sound, as ancient as all the yesterdays of the universe. They create an awareness I cannot fully comprehend, an excitement I cannot control, a yearning I dare not ignore. They tell me, go to the place where tomorrow is born, the place where eternity awaits the undoing of today's dilemmas. Go to the place, they say, where time answers the questions of lost and unanswered dreams of undiscovered purpose. Go to the place where footprints sealed in the sands of yesterday, unearthed, reveal a reality preordained by the designer of destiny and fate. The echo of distant drums call my name. They await the day I answer their call. The whispers entreat me to come. Come, they say, come, discover why you are here. My next poem is titled, This Freedom Thing. This freedom thing. There are some that have come to know freedom only through ancestors' woeful echoes, those whose chorus of unripened dreams were turned nightmare, work songs from field, chain, even church, but seldom CEO, sung and clung to for life. Pain birthed melodies from slaves whose souls uttered unlettered words of hope, courage, and resolve. Such was and is our story. It is for them that I lift prayer, for them, they who sift spirit from sorrow while searching the horizons for signs of the familiar. They who bid me even now to sing their song of loss and pain in verse made plain. They plead me to release it to the universe, shout it from faith's high point of hope. They say, steal away, search out this freedom thing, claim it, revere and hold it dear. Create it when necessary, but always, always keep it safe. Grow it from whisper to shout song, then hand it down, tender and prideful to the young ones. Yes, the young ones, teach them to make it their own. So I hold fast to the thing so many never knew. It is for them that I write, for them that I strive to create beauty from tears. Certain that this freedom thing, which some would deny me, is near. And let's see, my next poem is a bit shorter. It's titled The Burn, in response to the duality of my reality. The burn. Sometimes the pain inside my bones blazes red hot, burns like midnight crosses, nooses on necks stretched from yesterday's poplar trees, still casting shadows, still strangling dreams on urban playgrounds, along suburban sidewalks. Black bodies still burn, still swing all too freely inside minds and courtrooms. Charred relics swinging from limbs, still barred from corporate boardrooms. Dreams scorched to despair by yesterday's realities that just won't die. My next poem is titled This Time. This time. Why? How? What does this journey mean? After all this time, such questions persist. Will time not dispel the notion that this is a quest, an experience of significance beyond my own infinitesimal relevance? Choose a new path, seek new stimuli, sights, sounds, truths. Awaken an awareness that brings strength, sight beyond seeing, opening that third eye, granting vision in 3D, detect, discern, demystify, exposing and explaining elusive questions and answers that have danced for so long just beyond the periphery. What does it all mean when the sun does not illuminate sufficiently for comprehension, and shadow lingers so much longer than daylight? Even as thunder rolls and storms press past points that deny safe haven, forcing fight or flight reflexes I have yet to master. But this time, I receive answers. Incessant query and diligent examination have not left me barren. This time, purpose nor plan elude me, for passion partnered with faith has proven to be more than sufficient. These are the gifts granted yearning souls such as ours to illuminate paths and unearth finds that awaken myriad possibilities. Together, they ignite beyond mere ember. This time, they radiate, resonate, burst into revelatory flames, casting clarifying light. Comprehension comes quick. Unanticipated understanding occurs like galaxies colliding, exploding into sunbursts. Awareness expands exponentially, welcoming a new reality this time. And my final poem for this 7-poem set is titled, Get Out of My Way. Would somebody please tell yesterday to get out of my way? Tell her to stop bulldozing my dreams, stop trampling my tomorrows and knocking me down every time I try to get ahead? Would somebody please tell yesterday to get on back to where hope be broke and choice be gone, so me and mine can stand a chance to rise above yesterday's can'ts? Now I know yesterday been around a long time. She probably figured she gonna be around forever. She done seen the millennium come in. A lot of young folks didn't, you know, cause of yesterday. A lot of young folks, yesterday took them. Of course, you took a lot of old folks too. Took my mama and daddy. Yesterday just keep on taking and taking folks in their dreams and their hopes. She take anything ain't locked down, I suppose. That's why I be real careful these days, because you see, I'm tired of yesterday just showing up all over the place. You see, I've been working too hard trying to keep my stuff together for yesterday to just come up in here and take it all away. But when a body don't lock their stuff up tight, doing what's right, staying 2 steps ahead of yesterday with a stick in one hand and a Bible in the other, yesterday can sure enough knock you down. Keep your dreams from ever getting off the ground. Well, I say yesterday done took enough. So I put locks on all my stuff. My soul be locked on Jesus. My heart be locked on my man. My children be locked in the cradle of my love with my 2 strong hands, guiding them showing them the way away from yesterday. My home be locked in a sacred shield, anointed with God's special blessing. Because you see, ain't nobody messing with something I worked this hard for. My job be locked down with 30 plus years of hard work. Thank you, Lord, with me praying that I'm moving in the right direction. Yeah, I got locks on all my stuff, and I'll be ready for tomorrow. So somebody, anybody, everybody, won't you please tell yesterday to stay out of my way? Because you see, it's time. It's time for tomorrow to let her light shine. And you see, there's one thing for sure. Tomorrow's the one place yesterday can't go. Well, thank you so very much. I hope you've enjoyed hearing my poetry. I always enjoy sharing my poetry, and I look forward to continuing to enjoy the poetry of others today. Thank you again.
Oh, let's hear it. That was wonderful. Let's hear it for Sister Joy again. Whoa. I don't know. I feel like we should hallelujah or something.
That would be fine. That would be
Yes.
absolutely fine.
Hallelujah. Wow. And she will be back at the end of the day, time permitting. We have another feature, then we have the open mic, and I'll explain about the open mic after the next feature, and then Chip will lead the open mic. This is a wonderful afternoon. Look at all the people who turned out here in the heat, all the people who turned out there in the chill, and wow, this is just phenomenal. Our next feature is just a wonderful poet and a really good friend, and I've known her a while. Her name is Jen Mara, and she is a writing instructor, editor, and adjunct assistant professor of English, humanities, and women's and gender studies at Suffolk County Community College. She holds an MFA in writing from Southampton College, an MA in psychology from NYU's Graduate School of Arts and Sciences, and a BFA in cinema studies from NYU. Wow. She's written newspaper columns, articles, essays, and poetry. Her first story, published in the Southampton Review, won a Pushcart Prize nomination. Please, please help me welcome Jen Mara.
Thank you, Maggie, Chip, and I'm glad Bubby's here. So I had not written anything for 10 years until I started coming to Poetry Street this past October. And I have Maggie to thank for this, really. I mean, we've known each other, and your encouragement and your warmth throughout. So I've sort of dutifully written one poem a month and come here and read it. And that's all the writing I've been doing since October. So Maggie asked me a couple of months ago if I would come read it. And I said, I don't have enough poems. And she said, so write some. So I looked back at some poetry that I had written in the 1990s. And it turns out I have, like 100 or 200 poems. So I chose 3 of those, one of which I revised, 2 I didn't, and I did write some others for today. I wrote 3 others, so you'll hear 6 poems today. One is a little bit on the long side, but I'll talk about that when I get to it. So the first one is new. It's called The Promise, and it is for my son, Simon, who's not here because the others are too mature. The Promise. She wished for you a better life, She loved you, I sense. You arrived home with a tiny lavender bag that contained a onesie far too small, for she couldn't have known how much you had grown. I promised this woman who lives across the planet, who carried you, that I would love you as I had never been loved, that I would teach you and guide you, lead you to adulthood. This promise and my love are too profound to have come from my own womb. Thank you. So the next three are poems I wrote in the 90s, and I was not in a great space in the 90s, as you will see. So the first one is called Smells of Yesterday. Smells of yesterday, patchouli oil. In the basement of a Brooklyn brownstone, a boy too young lives alone, bakes hash brownies, listens to The Who, The Dead, The Doors. Posters of Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison, and Janis Joplin line the walls that surround this smell, permanent in the pores of the blankets, the boy's clothing strewn about the room, and the batiksed bandana nailed above the bed. He sits on this bed wearing Pumas and Levi's. With one knee up, his rubber sole rests on the sheet and leaves behind a disregarded, muddy footprint. She sits on the floor with tangled hair, holding a pack of parliaments. Saint Stephen plays in her head while she stares blankly at the ceiling and inhales the aroma of patchouli oil. They are unaware of the damage occurring across the room on the olive green carpet, their friend, their dealer, and his now victim, for whom patchouli oil will always smell like this apartment. This one's untitled. Oh, now I'm too loud. I can hear myself. Really? Open mind, closed heart, closed doors, painted colors, naked, running, screaming, doors locked, hallway, naked, running, outside, dress, run home. One more from that period of time, and then I'll stop torturing you. It's called Turtle. The turtle in his shell is sheltered from all he wants not and all he wants. He wants to come out, for other turtles shed their shells for sunlight, water, and air, essentials of life that give meaning to life, meaning to come out. Year after year, it becomes harder to venture beyond the known, the comfortable. Discomfort overrides everything, feels uncomfortable, and nothing is more uncomfortable than leaving his shell. And I'll read one that I have read here before, and Bubby took it and did a far better job with it than I did. But I found it important, and so I figured if I like my performance and I have this recording, I wanted this poem to be part of it. So it's a true story, and in fact, it's only part of the story that happened at my son's school, and it's called High School. He walked behind the high school, a shortcut to buy lunch. Teens in ski masks jumped the boy. It started with a punch. They took his backpack and his watch. He defended himself. They had knives and stabbed the boy. School can end in death. 2 weeks later was a fight. Fists and words were thrown. Police said that it escalated and someone got a gun. The boy was 15 years of age, and forever he will be. Thoughts and prayers, of course, were sent to a bereft community. I will say, we are still traumatized by the events of those couple of weeks. So this is my last poem, but it's long, 5 minutes, so buckle in. And I hope you like it because it's long. So the two classes that I teach most often are gender studies and mythology. And I have been wanting to write for a long time. And since I had the opportunity to write here, I wanted to incorporate one of those two things. Ambitiously, I thought I would do both, but that's pretty funny. I've been wanting to retell the myths from my mythology class. And when I was thinking it through before I came here, before I wrote this, basically every minute of the day for the past month, I realized that the original is written as a poem in verse. And so it's sort of a challenge for me to do it. The source material is Ovid. It was written in 8 AD in his book Metamorphosis, so called because every story involves shape-shifting of some sort. Sometimes it's the central theme, and sometimes it's just a tiny part of it, which this story is. So I see confusion already. I'm going to read, I'm going to read a story called Narcissus, something you have all heard of. So it's not a direct translation, and it's not a reworking like a Hollywood movie. It stays faithful to the original, but I'm telling it in my own words. And I hope you don't hate it if I take a drink of water. Did I introduce it clearly? Okay. Narcissus. Countless were enchanted by the charms of Narcissus. He did dally with women, men, and nymphs, but never loved any. Broken-hearted souls from the toll of his rejection yearned with desire and burned from rebuff. One such spurned, scorched person cried out, "May this man love as I have. May he feel the pain he has caused me. I love this man too much. May Narcissus experience unrequited love. May Narcissus suffer unrequited love." This wish, this plea to the heavens was heard by a goddess named Nemesis. This was just the request that inspired her best, for Nemesis was the goddess of revenge. Meanwhile, Narcissus watched birds and savored the summer sun. He strolled among shrubs, wandered through thickets and on well-worn paths. A wood nymph named Echo leaped from the trees to embrace him, so unhinged with desire was she. He pushed her away without sympathy. One day while walking, he happened upon a pool of water. In this pool, he saw his reflection. A crown of curly hair like Apollo's, smooth skin, large dark eyes that shone with both soulful intellect and gentle humor. All he was admired for, he admired. Narcissus fell in love. This reflection he saw, he did not realize it was such, for he thought he had found the perfect person to cherish. He spoke to him and saw the man's mouth move as if to form words, but no sound came forth. His lips merely mirrored his own. "Why are you mocking me with your mimicry?" Narcissus said, and again saw the same. Narcissus reached to touch his cheek. His hand dipped into the water, and where he had seen the man's face, ripples formed around his fingers, and the face faded away. Many, many times he smiled to entice him, leaned to kiss him, reached to hold him, only to see the man do the same, then not remain. He withdrew, wet with water, and he wept. The man wept as well. Why do you look at me with longing, then leave me? Why do you tease me? Narcissus was tortured. He loved and was not loved in return. He felt the unrequited love that Nemesis had gifted the forlorn. Narcissus was gutted by unrequited love. Unable to look away from the pool, he forsook food and rest. He weakened. His reflection weakened. Narcissus saw at last, oh no, you are me. His reflection mouthed the same. My love is myself, and I cannot have him. How I wish to split in two so I may be with my beloved. An odd request, yes, but how can I be content? Without him, I feel only hunger, but cannot eat. Growing ever weaker, Narcissus soon would perish. Wallowing and with all remaining strength, he wailed. The wood nymph Echo heard these lamentations. She too wailed in the woods, resounding his yowl. Though he had dismissed her cruelly, she had to do this, for Echo had long ago crossed a great goddess who fated her to repeat the last of others' utterances and never to speak her own thoughts again. So loud was this wailing by Narcissus and Echo, all the wood and water nymphs, everybody nearby heard their cry. Narcissus beat his chest in agony. Echo emulated the thud which turned his thinning skin red with bruise. Losing strength, Narcissus stared at his stunning, now skeletal face. As wax melts, as dew dissipates, the face faded into the water. No, he croaked, no, don't leave me in my final hour. I cannot bear it, no. Narcissus passed on. The ferryman led him across the river Styx to his final place, as was the way. Unable to refrain, Narcissus gazed over the edge of the boat as his reflection. My boy, farewell, he uttered faintly. Well, Echo said in return. Water nymphs and wood nymphs cried out in mourning, and Echo sounded their sorrows all at once. The nymphs gathered to form a funeral, beautiful as Narcissus, but when they arrived, his remains were nowhere to be found. Instead stood a single flower, yellow in the center, surrounded by delicate white petals. And to this day, by the way, Narcissus is the botanical name for the daffodil. Thank you. Thank you, Mom.
Thank you, Jen.
I wish I weren't so nervous. It would be fun.
Let's hear it for Jen Mara. And let's hear it for both our amazing features. Okay, we are going to move into the open mic. And I want to explain that we've changed the rules a little bit on the open mic. We're going to ask everybody to do one poem. One poem, hopefully not your epic, okay? One poem. The other change is we don't ordinarily do music here because we're a poetry venue. But today we're making an exception because our favorite busker is here. And at some point during the open mic, he is going to do a tune for us. So I am going to turn the mic over to Chip Williford and get the list for him. And he will, thank you, Bubby. And he will lead the open mic.
welcome into Riverhead at the Free Public Library. We're so glad to be here. Maggie went over the rules for the open mic and we hope that you all follow them. Otherwise, she has a hook. So our first poet here at the Free Riverhead Public Library is Susan Simmergrave. Yes, Susan, let's give it up for Susan. And she has a wonderful shirt. Come on up, Susan. Okay. Well, you know what? While she's getting ready, I'm gonna read a real short poem. Look, I'm 62. I'm in the last prime of my life. And I intend to have a ball. I will run barefoot on the grass with my hose pointed up in the air. And as the water rains, I'll look for the rainbow. Ladies and gentlemen, here comes Susan.
Well, thank you. I really expected others to be before me because this is really a hard act to follow. I have no degrees after my name when it comes to poetry or English or anything like that. So I'm just me sharing what I write. So this is a poem I wrote at the beginning of COVID. So April 13th, to be exact, 2020, when everything was pretty confusing and we didn't know what was happening. So this is called Wise Woman. Inside, outside, upside down, tumbling, fumbling, spinning around like clothes in a dryer. Confused, befuddled, days blending as one, restless, aimless. What day is it? What time is it? What is this purpose? What am I learning? What should I be doing? Go within, I hear. How deep do I go? Your heart knows the path. Stop cleaning the closets. Start cleansing your soul. Delve deep to the core. Sort through the muddle. Be persistent, resistant to a distracting, endless, useless thoughts. Bathe in the silence. Soak in the stillness. Purge any doubts. Cast away all beliefs. You are who you are, as you were lifetimes ago. Breathe, feel, trust, accept, acknowledge. Wise woman of self. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Susan. And I meant to mention, Sister Joy, your poetry was so powerful. I still have chills. Thank you so much. And Jim Mara, wow, you know how to tell a story. Thank you so much. It's beautiful. Okay, our next on the open mic is Christine Tomasella. Christina, come on up here. Are you from Riverhead? Oh, awesome.
Yes.
Awesome, welcome. Welcome.
I'm actually here to share something called flash fiction. Does anybody, I'll give you a definition. I wasn't sure what it was 6 months ago. Flash fiction is, I'll give you a definition, okay? It's also called minimalist fiction, and it's a fictional work of extreme brevity that still offers character and plot development, but relies heavily on imagery and emotion. Is that right, Jen? The goal of flash fiction, also referred to as microfiction or short stories, or sudden fiction. Those are all different terms used. Every sentence, every word should reveal something to the reader that we did not know before. Some commentators have suggested that flash fiction possesses a unique literary quality in its ability to hint at or imply a larger story. So I'm here to share with you a piece of flash fiction that was written by a 16-year-old boy in 11th grade. And apparently creative writing courses in high school these days are teaching flash fiction as a form of writing. And I believe that's because our attention spans have gotten teeny tiny and micro. So that's why maybe they're introducing these super short stories. So he wrote this, and he entitled it "The Cries of Battle." The yelping, pleading cries were muffled by those of rage. I had seen battle many times before, and this was no different. The blood-stained grass washed away any memory of the beautiful green that once was. But it will come again, just like the sounds of the birds will come again, and how the smell of crisp air will return. Through the red ocean, I saw a miracle, a blossoming flower standing proud and pure like a beacon of hope in this hell. The sounds of swords clashing against one another were not nearly as powerful as this one single flower. And as I looked at the flower, I smiled. I would come back for it. But for now, the air is cursed with my cries. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Christine. And what was the boy's name?
His name is Frankie.
Frankie?
Yes.
Frankie, thank you so much. Poetry Street is the room without a roof where every voice is heard. And we wouldn't be Poetry Street without you on Zoom land. So Claire, who do we have on Zoom land that wants to read?
We've got quite a lineup, but we're going to start with Herb Wallstein, followed by Nina Yabel, and then Gladys Henderson.
Awesome, in that order. Here we go, Herb.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm going to read a poem from a manuscript called, I probably can't see it, Adam and Eve in the 20th, oh, maybe you can't, nah, too fuzzy. Nah, it doesn't matter. Adam and Eve in the 20th century. Work. And this is an epigraph from Genesis chapter 3, verses 19 and 23. In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread, till thou return unto the ground. Therefore the Lord God sent him forth from the Garden of Eden to till the ground whence he was taken. Adam's back and legs would ache more than anything else. Constant walking, crouching, walking, crouching below the blowtorch Southern Californian sun was torture. The heat evaporated not only his water, but also, it seemed, his blood. The white hot sun, black asphalt lot, and white parking stripes were as starkly absolute as his psyche. He would push himself, 1, 2, chalk, crouch, snap a chalk stripe, get up, walk, molten lava-like asphalt, 1, 2. Usually, this went on for 16 hours a day with no benefits, no pension, no vacation, no sick pay, no overtime, and, of course, not much pay, period. He shudders at his memory of the past year striping parking lots while waiting in an air-conditioned office for his county accountant clerk job interview to begin. Thank you.
So I wrote this poem after reading an article in the Science Times. It's called Missing Teeth. The rainbow has missing teeth, colors we were never meant to see, colors where the night seeps through. Some stars hold fast to chosen elements of you, others lose their grasp. A fragile band of yellow may be lost, a tone of violet verging on the blue. A brilliant nova may withhold a dark vermilion in its lace, a shade that only cosmic valentines embrace. So if you believe an arc of light will bring peace, I must advise that even light, cradle of gods, source of prayer and reverie, even light leaping on its feet, cannot be trusted to be true, to be sweet. Thank you.
And we only have audio from Gladys, but audio is all we need.
Thank you so much. This is a child's memory from 1945, and that was during World War II. And there was rationing of many products, including milk. So sometimes people would figure out a way of getting milk to the people, and they were happy because many of the people who were around in 1945 came from different backgrounds. So this is a memory of my childhood called Shepherd of Hilltop Avenue. I could hear them coming from far away. At first, a whisper of bells, and later their bleating, as if to encourage each other up the steep hill. My shepherd took the same route every day because of the plot of land across from my house. There he would rest his flock of sheep and goats below the stippled shade of the maple trees, and they would cool their bodies in the tall grasses, buzzing with grasshopper and crickets. Sitting on the curb, I waited for them, breathed in the wild fragrances coming from the woods, sweet grasses, clover, wisteria, and lilacs. My 4-year-old senses were lavished alive with the exquisiteness of those tiny samples of heaven. When the herd arrived, they welcomed me by bumping me with their heads. I sat on the ground with it near them, feeding them handfuls of grass that I had pulled from the earth. The kids and lambs stayed close to me, sometimes leaned on my body. I felt their heat. I loved the shepherd. How gently he spoke to me and his flock. Every once in a while, he would stand up, cup his hands around his mouth and shout, "Fresh milk, fresh milk." My mother showed me a stained glass image of him in the church. How tenderly he protected the little ones in his care, and the children he sheltered in his lap. I wanted to be one of his. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
Thank you so much for that wonderful story with such imagery. Warren McKnight is here at the Free Public Library. We're going to ask him to come up now. Warren McKnight.
I would just like to say that first poets were troubadours. Years ago, people couldn't read, and news was spread by minstrels or troubadours who would go town to town. And they would tell what's happening in each town, and they have to do it in rhythm. So it was a combination, of that. So I'm going to give you a current version of that. I didn't write it. Don Williams made it famous. I forgot the guys who wrote it. It's called I Believe in Love. I don't believe in superstars, organic food, or foreign cars. I don't believe the price of gold, certainty of growing old, that right is right, that left is wrong, that north and the south can't get along, that east is east, and west is west, that finishing first is always best, but I believe in love. I believe in babies. I believe in mom and dad. And I believe in you. Here's what person read this, he'd probably get ready, killed for heresy years ago. This part. Well, I don't believe that heaven waits for only those who congregate. I'd like to think of God as love. He's down below and up above. He knows who does and doesn't care.
From
And I'm an ordinary man. But I believe in love. I believe in magic. I believe in music. And I believe in you. Now, this is more like the contemporary part of it. I don't believe virginity is as common as it used to be. Working days and sleeping nights, that black is black and white is white. That Superman in Hollywood and Robin Hood is still alive in Hollywood. That gasoline's in short supply. The rising cost of getting by. But I believe in love. And I believe in old folks. And I believe in children. And I believe in you.
Thank you so much, Wayne. I believe in love too. And I love all of you here and all of you there on Zoom. And we're gonna bring one more, we're gonna bring Jeannie Lake, and she's here at the Riverhead Free Public Library. Please give a round of applause for Jeannie Lake.
Hi, it's Jeannie Lane, L-A-N-E. Okay, no problem. And Warren, I love that song. I still sing that at home. It's one of my favorites. It was good to hear it again. The joys of being 8 years old. Hearing mom's admonition, stay in front of the lifeguard, I leave our bungalow, walk the path to Long Island Sound, where I will spend the day swimming, only breaking for lunch when mom arrives with cream cheese and jelly sandwich on white bread and homemade limeade. Going into town on Friday night to shop, and I'm given 25 cents to buy 6 candy bars. Saturday night at Riverhead Raceway, marveling as cars roar around the track in a cloud of dirt particles and cheers. Sitting in the backseat of our 1939 Buick, trying to chip pieces of ice off the 50-pound block of ice in the wash tub on the floor. Thrilled when Daddy submits to my pleas to stop. I get out, stand on the running board, hold on to the window frame for dear life as car bounces down the hill to home, hair flying off my face. I am the original Supergirl. Blackberry picking, racing through farmers' sprinklers on shortcut to Church Cemetery, where I read old inscriptions on slate, sandstone, and marble. Trace stained fingers over Tree of Life. Stop to say prayers at children's graves. Taking nature walks along the edge of woods. Finding box turtles and animal tracks. Collecting butterflies, moths, and beetles. Laughing through life, 8 years old.
I love that. I love that. They're very nice. Okay, Claire, who do we have in Zoom land? If you can give me the next 3 poets, that would be awesome.
Yes, we're going to feature Bernardo, followed by Emily Sue Sloan, and then J.R. Turek are the
All
next
right,
3.
in that order, let's go.
Good afternoon. My name is Bernardo. I am the sing-song poet, stand heroic even without a cape. It's wonderful to hear all these wonderful poems today, especially those who speak of the origin of the origin of the troubadour. In 1999, some things were going on in my life. New designs were being put in place. And I, standing at the precipice of everything, sat still in meditation, and this poem came to me to tell me which way I was to go. I implore all of you, standing at the precipice of these times that we are living in today, to tap into this wisdom and let it guide you. Follow your heart, but think with your mind. Are you moving ahead or falling behind? Just stop falling. Follow your heart like a yellow brick road. Get to the castle and then take a load off your mind. Unwind, get ready for your visit. Know that the wizard will see you in a minute. Inquire of your deepest desires. Hey, what is it? Reflect on the trek for this gift that you seek. You have not because you ask not. Just speak. A new brain to explain, a new heart, a new start. And courage, encourage will serve you quite well on this your journey through a wilderness of hell on earth, in search of your preordained home. And it was not good that man should be alone. So God created woman, each made for the other. Follow your heart that you too might discover the pleasure of a treasure without measure, designed by God, known as love and decreed divine. Time after time, turn to love like accomplice, knowing rightly aligned that love can accomplish miraculous things, antidote to the fear that grinds against your mind, making peace disappear. But life is not a smooth path flowing with laughter. A vision like that would lead to disaster. Adolescent presence like sex and possessions are really just rudiments, elementary expressions. They will lead to deception if you don't recognize the meaning of love and how it was devised. Lessons in love let you know what it is. It is patient and kind and able to forgive. Love is not jealous or selfish or proud to the point where it is boastful, unseemly, or loud. Love is not evil and promotes no shame. And love is not somebody calling out your name in a bed. Instead, what it does is love promotes love. You see, love promotes love. It protects, it respects, it directs you to deeds of honor and hope. Love always believes. Love holds things together. Love makes it more better. Love weathers the storm, and true love will never leave you, deceive you. And these are your clues. You have to know that it's love, and then know that it's true. And if God is the glue and the guide and the source, you need only to seek him and follow the course. Where will this lead to? Where is the mark? I told you already. You have to follow your heart, but think with your mind. Are you moving ahead or falling behind? Just stop falling.
Okay, and now we go to, I'm looking for Emily. She's still here.
I'm here.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. Great to be here. I'm going to read a poem called The Last Gas Station, which will be appearing in October in the Evening Street Review. And it was inspired by a photograph. The Last Gas Station. Did COVID shut it down? Or maybe it was the war. Yes, it must have been the war that ushered in abandonment, ironic victory in that other war, the one to save the earth, or rather its inhabitants, because the earth, well, it will go on spinning, but life stands on the precipice. Small price to pay, but even so, watching death leave a trail of unquenchable thirst. No time to wait for treads to wear thin and rust to conquer steel. It brings a sadness, like coming across a bleached bone skull half buried in the desert and waiting for the wind to whistle a new chapter in the old story of towns rising and falling with the next traveling show. Thank you.
And we will now hear from JR. Jurek, everyone.
Super. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Sister Joy. Thank you, Open Mic. Oh, thank you, Maggie and Chip and Claire. What a wonderful afternoon. So one poem from Dog Speak. These are 24 poems written in a 24-hour poetry marathon in the voice of dogs. I'm supporting North Shore Animal League, the world's largest no-kill shelter. And I asked Sister Joy to play poetry roulette with me. So she picked a number from 1 to 24. And oh, I'm delighted to say, Hiram, it's your favorite also. And so, nothing better. Bacon, bacon, bacon. We love bacon. Bacon treats, bacon kibble, bacon gravy on bacon potatoes, bacon in, on, with everything. Bacon. You humans are odd. Bacon raw but never crisp. Bacon crisp but never raw. Bacon strips warmed over, but we don't care. It's bacon. Bacon in the middle of 2 slices of bacon on a bacon bread sandwich with a drizzle of bacon on top. Homemade bacon cookies, hint, hint, wink, wink. Bacon. We love bacon better than anything. Bacon shoes, bacon bones, bacon toys, bacon strips, bacon, nothing better than bacon, 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 bacon. Oh, chicken, chicken wings, chicken skin sizzling, chicken treats, chicken kibble with chicken gravy. Nothing better than chicken. Oh, wait, beef. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Judy.
Oh,
And
that
Judy,
was
by
awesome.
any chance, is
Awesome.
the hardest working woman in poetry land, period. Hands down. Thank you so much for all that you do for all of us.
Thank you.
We're gonna bring Maggie back in just a minute. She's gonna remind you about the community poem. But first, we're gonna bring Linda Bullock up. And she's here at the Free Public Library in downtown Riverhead. Linda is such a wonderful person.
Good afternoon. This is just a lighthearted little piece that inspired by my maturing grandson. And it's entitled Gma. The eye roll tells me that it bugs you when I mention maintenance of your hair. The heavy sigh tells me that it bugs you when I observe your underwear. To you, I'm old-fashioned and don't understand the fashions of today's youth. But keep in mind that I've been around, and here is a simple truth. I want the world to see you as I see you through my eyes. I want the world to see you that you're not just one of the guys. First impressions may hamper a future endeavor of what you want to be. So be confident in your choices of what you want the world to see. All things matter in this world. I hope you understand how important it is to stand as a man. It's my job as Gma to tell you what I think is best. And it's up to you to ponder these thoughts and figure out the rest. All this advice I offer with love, and one day it may be that every time you trim your hair, you will think of me.
Oh my God. How wonderful is that? And you know, sometimes you just had to pause a moment and just tell people how much you love them. And I love you all so much. Bill Batris is another person that I love so much. He is such a great guy. He hosts in his community For Better for Verse. I believe that's the name of it. And he does that for all of us. You know, poetry is something that you share. And we're just so happy to be able to share it with you today. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Batcher.
Thank you, Chip. My wife and I used to live near Patchogue, and when we were there, we volunteered in a soup kitchen. But it wasn't an ordinary soup kitchen, because the soup kitchen served breakfast on Saturday morning instead of soup. So it was great. Over the years, we got to know many of the regulars and got familiar with their stories, which were very troubling at times, but inspiring also. So this poem was written in honor of the chef at the soup kitchen, a wonderful man named Carl. And it's called The Spatula Man. And it's from my book, Celebrations. Where do folks go when hunger keeps calling and fickle misfortune has left them in the lurch? They head for the weekly Saturday morning soup kitchen breakfast in the basement of the church. Here they can find a hot cup of coffee and warm, friendly faces, and eat all they can of eggs and sausages, pancakes and home fries, all from the grill of the Spatula Man. The Spatula Man, the Spatula Man. It's all from the grill of the Spatula Man. Lots of people volunteer to help with the breakfast, serve cups of coffee, fill bowls of flakes, wash down the tables, butter the bagels, sweep, mop, and do whatever it takes. They say that it's their just Christian duty. We feel we ought to do what we can. Who are they kidding? They really come to admire the exceptional talent of the Spatula Man. The Spatula Man, the Spatula Man. Oh, the culinary talents of the Spatula Man. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Bill. Now, Claire, we have 3 more people on Zoom land, but first, I want Hiram to come on and tell us about X-Hunger. If Hiram's around.
Yeah, thanks, Chip.
Okay.
I didn't catch the gentleman's name. In fact, I was going to suggest if maybe somebody on Zoom could put the name of the people who are coming up to the mic there at the library in the chat. That would be really helpful to us on Zoom, because we're just not catching their names. But if he would be interested, I would love to republish the poem that he just read on Poetry X Hunger, which is a website where poets are posting their poems for anti-hunger causes.
Claire, you're...
Sorry, I was muted. We actually have about 4 or 5 left, but the
Let's
next
do 3 at a time.
poet will be Janique Mucklebean, if I've said that right.
You did. I'm sorry. My battery is low, so I can only do my voice, if that's okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. This is an I am poem. It doesn't really have a title. Inspired by the poetry prompts of Sister Joy. It's not really in the order, but it's a poem. I am light within my own darkness. I am peace entangled between my chaos. I am the voice echoing through my silence. I am strength climbing from beneath the rubble of my weakness. I am courage standing up to my discouragement. I am inspiration rising above the ashes of my self-doubt. I am hope battling the waves of my hopelessness. I am joy wrapped in my laughter, sporadically sprinkled throughout my discontent. I am love embracing my abandonment. Thank you.
And Janique is followed by Catrice Greer. And then we're going to ask Stephanie to speak after, to share after that.
Thank you very much. It's wonderful to be here. The readers were amazing. I'm here. Came for Sister Joy, and of course she's phenomenal. And second reader was amazing as well. So this has been a treat listening to everyone. My name is Catrice Greer. I'm in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm a poet based here. This poem I'm about to read is called Here is the Place. It's a nice short piece. It is part of a permanent installation in a nature education installation at my local arboretum. But it's just made to have people sort of think and imagine what their peaceful place is in nature, in their nature space. It's called Here's the Place. Where is the place you find solace? Is it where nature meets us as family, not foe? Where the trees bend in the wind, touching leaves in silence? Where flora and fauna spring forward, verdant? Perhaps it is where the woodland animals frolic, leaping from branch to branch, rustling the leaves in playful somersaults, or soar above and through the lush canopies as whistling sentries calling forth the hush. Into the green, into the green, into the green we go. Thank you. So that's my invitation to everyone to get out into the green spaces if you can this summer. Have a great day. Thank you.
Great job. Awesome. Great job. Thank you.
Very nice.
Looking forward to seeing you again.
And then we would ask Stephanie, I don't have a last name, if she would mind sharing with us.
Sure. The name of my poem is Dreaming of Kauai in the 80s. Gina, the other night I had a dream. I dreamt about Kauai. I dreamt about Princeville, Kapa'a, Hanalei, and Hyanna. Valley High Mountain rising up majestically, glimpsing it from Gina's outdoor shower. Loved the warm tortilla with cheese and a slice of tomato you offered for breakfast that morning. I slept over after leaving Arnie. I remember the double rainbows we all saw over the polo field. Breathtaking. They seemed to be there every time we went down to the polo field. Bobcat, the polo pony Arnie bought from the Hawaiian guy who thought he was getting over on him. Turns out Arnie got over on him when Bobcat gave birth on Christmas Day to Mary, a pretty little foal with a white blaze, just like her mom's, 2 for the price of 1. Then there was the ice cream parlor we opened in Kapa'a with the red and white checkered tablecloths and curtains I made by hand. It was the best ice cream I ever tasted, and I don't even like ice cream. Loppert's, imported from San Francisco. It was delicious. Macadamia nut, my favorite. I can still smell the pungency of plumeria and feel the lay around my neck. I can still hear the sound of the waterfalls roaring down the mountains as I watch from my backyard. I tried to count them, way too many to count. Hanalei Bay, loved the beach, loved El Cafe, the Mexican restaurant, where Michelle went to work because she loved Mexican food.
Loved the trip from Princeville to Hanalei, down past the rice paddies, over the bridge, and then to Hyena. Tropical Taco, where I had my first burrito. It was amazing. I never had anything like it before. A little old green Volkswagen van configured into a taco truck. Then there's the secret beach Aqua took me to. We drove through the breathtaking tree tunnel. At the end of the tunnel was Secret Beach, glistening, the sun hitting the sea glass. What an incredible sight. We spent the afternoon collecting sea glass. The sea glass collection, now in a fishbowl in New Jersey. The Bill Bless Lincoln Continental with its itty bitty diamond ship and the little round window we had shipped to Kauai with New York plates. The Hawaiians disapproved of that. They called us Howleys. Tried driving that car over the rickety one-lane bridge from Hanalei to Hyena. Then there was this green Spider Fiat and the blue Datsun truck. I learned how to drive a stick, not well enough to maneuver on a hill. Had to switch seats with Jeannie and let her do it. Jeannie, we've been in touch ever since I left in '84. She's in her 80s now, riding a camel in Cairo, painting her hula lulus in Kuwait. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And just a reminder that the recording of this reading, as well as other readings, are in our archives on our website at poetrystreetontheroad.com. So please check out our website. Okay, so we're going to come back here to the Riverhead Free Public Library, and we're going to ask Keith Lane to please read for us.
Well, thank you. What I lack in talent, I make up in anxiety. I've never read anything. I don't even write. These are just dreams that sort of string together. In this town, followers fall to the wayside. Without thought, they grasp for a crutch formed in the endless halls of a madhouse. We fall to our knees, prayers on our lips, but there is a sense of terror that tinges every slow, useless syllable. On a winter night, the angels arrive with vengeance, their only goal. Their movement is dance, a dance that is the image of a gospel soul, a soul constructed of tears and nights of crime. I cry for a girl lost to me, a girl who skips along the abyss in search of a daughter filled with love on nights so tender. But this child is a denizen of the hollow song, a tune of madness, and shall never let her lips bring truth or anything other than love fashioned of lie. Where are the church bells to chime of hope? Nowhere. This is the time of criminal mischief and violence sublime. Wow.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much. Clara, do we have someone else in Zoom land that would like to read?
Yes, we do. I'd like to introduce Joanne to the forum, and if I can find her, I will highlight her.
Is she the last one, or do we have more after?
I'm gonna read, and then you, and then I think we go back to our group. But we also want to remind people of the community poem.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Hi, everybody. I'm new to the poetry world. I was hello.
Welcome.
Oh, thank you. I recently joined the Farmingdale Creative Writing Group, and they're pretty much into poetry. And, you know, as you sit there and listen to other people's works, you get inspired. So I wrote something that means a lot to me, and you can interpret it however you want, however it gives meaning to you. It's called Riverside. Echoes once flowed on the river called life, the bed now all but dry, exposed to light, tenacious rocks still shine. I dare ask, can they still dream? I've seen a shredded past tap the unknown and silver ribbons that can bind time. In twilight, imaginings become real. They sing of withered souls of a faithful pair on the journey along the riverside. Thank you.
Claire Lunsford.
Hi, thank you to JR for asking me for a poem today. And if I can put it together, here we are. You'll understand at the end. Hadn't seen my dad in 3 full days. He'd aged 8 years in his rehab. The next week, I missed just 1 day. He'd aged another 2. Perhaps it helped that we'd moved him back home. You have all matured a decade in the month since I've seen you last. If you're new to this forum, you are clearer than ever. The clarity comes through in your voices where I hear the themes of love echo amongst hate, fear, trauma, and faith risen again. It's a pleasure to hear your voices so much clearer. Cataract surgery, a double for me, will do that for you.
Thank you, Claire, for sharing. Mary Cooper is here at the River Here Free Public Library. We're going to ask her to please come up and read. Yes. And this is her first time.
This was just given to me just now, and it's written in shorthand, so it'll take me a while. All right. It was the night before Christmas. Oh, this is the month of July. I thought I saw Santa. I apologize. This is a place where I was born. This is my ancestral home. I am now a matriarch in this beautiful land. I look at the beautiful trees and the flowers, but I look at all of you. You're beautiful too. Also, I've traveled all over this place. I even tried to go out of space. I went to England where I met Paul and his band. You know the Beatles. They came to my home to play with my husband's band. And then they stayed to eat whatever I made. But then we went all over the United States. We went to Israel. That's not the United States, is it? No. We went to Las Vegas. We went to where I worked. We went to other places, and we ended up in Florida, and we came back home. And now I was baptized here, I was raised here, and so forth, and now I still live here. But I also enjoy the fruit of the land. I enjoy the animals, the rabbits, the squirrels that sit on top of my house sometimes. I love the veggies, but also I just want to say that this is a land of the free and home of the brave. And I thank God for what he has made. Amen.
Thank you so much, Mary Cooper, for that. And we're still grateful to have one of our co-founders here of Poetry Street, Robert A. Bubby Brown. We're going to ask him to come up and read for us. Let's give it up for Bubby. He's our founder. Yes. Come on, Zoomland, I can't hear you. Here you go.
Good afternoon, good afternoon. I'm kind of ticked off. I had these 2 pieces I want to do today, and I was down in my man cave rehearsing. I want to make a good impression on everybody here. And I got ready to go, I don't know what happened. The poetry Grinch must have ate the papers because I don't know what I did with them. So I just grabbed my book here and we'll find something to do. We'll do something. And I just love all of the readings that I've heard. And each time I hear somebody read, it feeds me. It feeds me to do something else. And I think I've done this before, but I was listening to the news just before I left home. So this kind of fits. Superman has cancer. So big, and oh so strong. The world protector for oh so long. For decades on end, you've defended the weak, spoke up for the frightened who are afraid to speak. Loved by the people, entranced by your charms, comfortable in the protection of your arms. Now this illness has made an invasion on you, and the world doesn't quite know what to do. Who has the cure? Who has the answer? Who'll save the world when Superman has cancer? It's not a new sickness, it's festered for years, from the killing of Geronimo through slavery's tears. It abscessed on Bikini, made homeless a throng, while testing radiation with a hydrogen bomb. Who has the cure? Do you have the answer? Because our nation, Superman, has been diagnosed with cancer. It's spreading like wildfire, burning trees that were green, metastasized the whole Gulf Coast, buried New Orleans. All of Superman's family, his friends and his kin, never dreamed his demise would come from within. This hero is sick, but not terminal yet. The cure is intensive, may cause us some sweat. Inject some serum called common sense. Build an inclusive bridge instead of a fence. Children and parents separated at our borders, made orphans for life by presidential orders. Blind justice prevails, wrong walk into right. A felon for simply not being white. The shame is we've surrounded our protection by forfeiting participation in our nation's election. Let's look at the x-rays. What is it they've said? The cure may be located in Superman's head, where the ego overflows the cranial borders and shouts to the world, no one gives me orders. The bandage to cover this festering boil is a GI station on Iraqi soil. Before this insanity goes too far, please inform our leaders who our citizens are. This great nation must soon come up with an answer, because the Superman country has a Superman cancer.
What if Superman had cancer? Wow. Yeah. So July is National Minority Mental Health Awareness Month. And we just need to check in with our brothers and sisters. This is called Recognize or Cry for Help. I'm just an average Joe, and I really don't know why I have to fight day and night just for the right to stay alive, despite this hard-headed recession, income reduction, inflation, coronavirus, systemic and institutionalized racism are all contributors to my oppression. School's out, where's the lesson? Please tell me, can I repair these mistakes and ease my despair? I never imagined that I would ever be here, but I am. And I know I'm not alone. Many of us are already without a home, and I don't want the next one to be me. I'm really trying my best for it not to be working harder for less pay. It ain't easy, even though I tell myself not to worry. So I'm doing the work, and in my mind, I'm trying to keep focused on surviving, not on dying. I don't break any laws. I'm courteous to my neighbor. I clean my own house, and each blade of grass is accounted for. I strive every day to make things better for my family and my community. Now tell me, what can I do to save my home and preserve $1 of dignity? All the time I tell myself, man, just do your best to climb out this mess. I try not to lose it. I try even harder not to stress. But how can I not where my feet are on fire and water boiling hot. My God, I'm trying so very hard not to let the depression of this recession seep in. So I'm asking you to please help me. I really am deserving. Thank you. So check in with your brothers and sisters to see if they're okay. And you know what? Therapy is a good thing. It's a real good thing. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a therapist in the house. Her name is Maggie Bloomfield. And she's also the co-host, and she's a poet, and she's going to share some of her poetry with you before she brings back the features. Maggie Bloomfield.
Thank you. Oh, before I read this poem, I've been asked to explain about the community poem again. The people in the room, it's pretty easy. In fact, it's written down, but for all our wonderful poets on Zoom, if you write a line in the chat, it will get to me. I'm going to put the poem together, one line about, and the theme is the river. But an additional challenge, should you choose to take it, is to not mention the word river in the poem. Okay, so Zoom people, put your line in the chat. Claire will get it to me. I'll read it next time. If you don't come back, you won't hear it. This poem that I am about to read, I think, yes, was just picked up for this year's Bard's annual anthology. It's called From a Plane at Midnight Over the United States. Stars from the night sky have fallen to Earth's evening. They sparkle, glitter, sprinkle colors below, vivid as the northern lights. How could so many land below, lighting up the dark with unnamed constellations of squares, rectangles, trapezoids, patterns, pinpoints, neon ropes, white belts and borders, shooting stars moving along highways, and unaccountably baseball fields. Thank you. I think is that it for the, okay, big announcement before we bring up the features again to read again. Next month, our co-founders, Bobby Brown and the one and only Susan Dingle, who's flying in from the West Coast, will be our features. So this is going to be an event you don't want to miss. And I'm also going to do a plug because Susan and I are doing a show the next night at the Jamesport Meeting House. It's a play that we did 7 years ago at the Southampton Cultural Center, and then again for the Riverhead Fringe Festival. So if you're free the night after Poetry Street, come see us. We're two, hey, we're two cougars.
What's the name of the play?
The name of the play is Break Out, and the theme is our recoveries. Okay. Thanks. Let's bring back Sister Joy.
Thank you so much. Wow, what an experience. What a delightful experience this has been. I have a poem that I believe is what I'm going to do now as my closeout poem. I will share that this is a poem that I wrote for my church for our Juneteenth celebration. The theme was Break Every Chain. And so my poem is titled, Keep Us Safe and Sane, Break Every Chain. For the celebration, we had a drummer, so I'll do my best to improvise in his absence. Chains, whips, auction blocks, families sold off, separated, sharecropping, Jim Crow, segregation, terrorism, oppression, suppression, slave Bibles, Ku Klux Klan, cross burnings, lynching. Keep us safe, Lord. Keep us sane. Black bald, black codes, red lining, blocked from reading and writing, dictated where we could and couldn't live. Books banned even now, blocking knowledge of history, erasing our story, fracturing our identity, silencing our voices, strangling our struggle for equality, eliminating opportunities for equity, mocking our humanity to block Black self-love. All while changing and controlling the narrative, keeping us off balance, watching the drama. What better way to emasculate America than keep a strong Black man down? All the better if he calls for his mama while he's pinned to the ground. Keep us safe, Lord. Keep us sane. Through every waking hour, we walk, work, live while Black. Sometimes the duality is too much. Sometimes just trying to breathe while Black is too much. It ain't easy. It still ain't easy. Break the chain, Lord. Break the chain. Help us fight for freedom. Give us focus to not get distracted. Strengthen our resolve and resilience. Lift us past the pain of slavery's legacy, through the haze of hatred, past the pitfalls of payback and retaliation. We know, Lord, that vengeance is yours alone. We know you've got our back, our future too. Our souls rest in your hands, Lord. Don't let yesterday's pain lure or lull us into lethargy, into isolation, devastation, desolation. Survival is still our victory song. You always make a way. Our fight is made strong through faith in you. Guide us past the deceiver's game, past politics and paradigms that shift over time, past a world that's literally dying to do things their way. Keep us safe, Lord. Keep us sane. Break generational chains of historical trauma, stagnant chains of ignorance and apathy, pretentious chains of ego and arrogance, indecisive chains of hesitation and fear. Break every chain. Break every chain. Keep us safe, Lord. Keep us sane. Show us the way. Show us the way. Hit, hit, hit to break every chain.
Wow.
Thank you.
And now we have, thank you so much, Sister Joy. What beautiful, what powerful words you shared. Thank you so much. And now we end with Jen Mara.
Wow, that was an incredibly powerful poem. I never know whether to look at you here, but Sister Joy, that was fantastic. Okay, you can hear me, right? I can't be quiet. Sister Joy, thank you. That was powerful, and I feel kind of selfish reading the next one, which is about myself. But so I'm going to read one poem followed by two short haikus, which is redundant, I know, but I'm just telling you they're short. So I hadn't written for 10 years before I started coming to Poetry Street. And that makes me really sad, actually. And this poem is the reason.
And it's actually one of the first poems that I wrote when I came here. So, but I'm not sure how many of the people who are here today heard it. So it's called Whose Story Is It? Shunned for telling my story because it was my father's, I went silent. It's my story because it's my life, because I've spent my life ruined. I read a memoir by a troubled woman, drugs, booze, sex, abortions, you know, name dropping the famous in their private details. I felt repulsed and angry at a woman because she told stories that were not hers to tell. I thought of myself and wondered if she repulsed me because she was me. I thought of myself in my stance that I had been silenced. I wondered, were they right? Did I tell my father's story out of turn? Is that why I despise the celebrity memoirist? Suddenly I understood my father. I had told his horror story. I had told his worst story. I spoke of him when I spoke my truth. Suddenly I understood his response. I forgave him for silencing me. And there are two that I wrote in follow-up haikus. The first is, I called my father full of love and forgiveness, remembered he's cruel. And the next one, I actually forgot that I had written until I went to print this out today, but I wrote, I'm glad I wrote it before calling my father. There'd be no poem now.
On behalf of Maggie and myself, we'd just like to thank all of you here at the Free Public Library for coming, and we'd like to thank all of you there and your comforts of your own home on Zoom for coming to Poetry Street. This is the Room Without a Roof, where every voice is heard. Thank you, and we'll see you next month at another Poetry Street event, where we'll have Bubby Brown and Susan Dingles, our founders, featuring. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day.